And welcome back to the Outdoors and Art Radio Show on WRVO Radio Network 1. I'm out here in the outdoors. We want you to get that full effect in the outdoors. We want you to be able to hear the wind, the birds. We want you to be able to hear the animals walk through the trees. We want you to get that full effect of the outdoors so that you can enjoy the real outdoor radio show. So anyway, I'm Blake Alma, the show's host. I'm out here today with Tim MacWelch on the line. And Tim MacWelch is New York Times best-selling author. He's written 3 books that are New York Times bestseller, and he's written 5 books overall. And actually today we have one of the books with us, Prepare for Anything Survival Manual. We'll be asking some of the questions from his book. And Tim, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hey, Blake. Well, hey, thank you so much for having me on your show. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
So I've been a lifelong fan of survival skills, big outdoorsman ever since I was a little kid, and it's just a passion for me. It's an obsession for me. I eat, sleep, drink, and breathe this stuff. And I started working for Outdoor Life about 5 years ago, and did quite a bit of work for them, and the opportunity arose to start doing some books with them as well. And I've been really lucky and really blessed to have so much success with those books.
Yeah, it's awesome. You know, I'm an author myself. I got 5 books out there about the outdoors. And before I became a radio show host, I was a writer just like you. I wrote for Survival Life. I wrote for my own website, founded my own website over a year ago. And it's been a blessing. The outdoors is a great blessing in my life. There's a lot of things to do therein. Not only is it fun, it can make you money, such as myself and you as well. It's amazing what God has created in the outdoors. It's just really fun, and I agree with you there. But anyway, I got some questions for you. But first off, why do you like survival so much? What made you a survivalist in the first place?
I think it all really stems back to my upbringing. My parents were always very self-reliant. They wouldn't call somebody to fix something. They would figure out how to fix it themselves. And we grew up on a farm, and so I had that sort of DIY mentality and a large exposure to nature, and it was really inevitable that I got interested in survival skills and traditional living skills.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I mean, survival is by far my favorite outdoor pursuit, and that's why here on the Outdoors and Art Radio Show, we started off the show on the principles of survival. We didn't start with hunting or fishing, because personally, first off, survival is my favorite outdoor pursuit. But second off, I mean, people need to know survival skills before they go out in the outdoors just to hunt, just to fish, hike, or camp. They need to know these skills, and survival is just a great outdoor pursuit. But I'm actually looking at your book right now, your Prepare for Anything Survival Manual, and you talk about sardines in your book. I found that interesting, because I love sardines. People are like, oh, that's weird. You like sardines? Those are nasty. I'm like, I think they taste great. I mean, they are a delightful little treat you can have. But, so why don't you tell us about how you can make a trap from a sardine can?
Yeah, so any piece of somewhat flexible metal can be pierced, and you do it with a really sharp knife. You pierce it and make an X shape, and those slices in the metal aren't particularly long. They're going to be less than 2 inches in length, and they'll intersect and make a perfect X. Now, you would fasten that piece of metal, whatever it is, if it's a piece of metal that you've scavenged from somewhere, or if it's your friendly neighborhood empty sardine can, you'll fasten that to something very sturdy, place it over a hole, and bury it slightly. And the way this trap works, any parent knows about digging into the wet wipe container with your finger to pull out a stranded wet wipe, and your finger gets stuck. Those 4 sharp corners of plastic, you can push your finger into them, but then they bite into your finger and you can't pull your finger out. This trap works in exactly the same way. So you are hoping that the animal will step exactly in the weak spot between those 2 slice marks, and then their foot will plunge down in there. Then the sharp points that you've created by making those intersecting slices will actually dig into their fur, dig into their hide, and you'll be able to hold them there for a little while.
So it's essentially it's similar to a foothold trap, so it holds them by the foot. And what animals does it really work best for?
You want a heavy yet slender-footed creature. So larger foxes are a candidate for something like this. And you're right, this is a poor man's foothold trap. If you can't scrape up the $15 to go buy a foothold, or let's say you're you're in a survival situation. This is something that you could use temporarily, very temporarily.
I would imagine that I wouldn't be able to hold it for a large mass of time, but if you don't have a foothold trap on you, but you have a can of sardines, or if you even buy a fishing pole emergency kit, it looks just like a sardine can. You can use that as well for a trap. And so, I mean, I would imagine that you set it up the same way as a foothold trap. You make the path the least resistance. You dig a little hole in the ground. That way, he steps right into it. Make it so he doesn't want to step on the sticks, but right there. Right there, and the little X mark right there, and that way he's stuck in there. Then just a thought I had, you could use the sardines themselves as bait, and so to lure in the fox. Sardines are great for raccoon and possum, and so I could only imagine them being good for fox trapping bait for that. And so, I mean, that's get free bait and a free trap right there. I mean, sardines cost like $1 for a can, so I'd recommend getting that. That's some good information there. Now, another thing I got. Let's talk about what do you use in a wilderness survival situation to start a fire?
Well, what I use is what everybody should use, which is a Bic lighter. You may like Zippo lighters, and you may like Scripto lighters for different reasons, but I'm a big geek about Bic, and no, Bic does not pay me to say that. If you've gotten injured, and that's what has created the survival scenario that you're in, then you don't have the ability to rub two sticks together. You're going to need a lot of muscle. You're going to need a lot of coordination. You're going to need a lot of movement to be able to do that. Although I love friction fire, don't get me wrong. But the thing I use, and the thing that everybody should be carrying, is a simple Bic lighter. I don't care how busted up you are, how big of a cliff you fell down. If you've got one working thumb and a lighter, you now have fire.
I definitely agree with you there.
Spark rods are a really nice backup. You know, they will light a lot of different things on fire, but fire will light even more things on fire than sparks.
Yeah, Bic is my favorite mini lighter that you can carry in your pocket. I would actually recommend buying the orange Bic lighter, and that way, in the event that you drop it in the woods, it should be fairly easy to spot. I mean, there's not a whole bunch of orange in the woods, and so like, oh, look, there's my orange lighter. Oh, it was easy. And so I'd recommend getting the orange one. And if you just buy any colored one, they actually have camo ones. I would not recommend buying the camo ones, even though they look cool. If you drop down the wilderness survival situation, it's going to be a lot harder trying to find that. And so I'd also recommend buying like orange duct tape, and that way, if it's not orange Bic lighter, just tape it with a little bit of orange on that, and you could do that with anything. You want to put your orange tape on your knife. That way, if you drop your knife, you got that orange tape, bright orange tape, and that way you can see that. And so I'd recommend buying some orange tape as well with your lighter. But again, yeah, Bic lighter is personally my favorite. Orange one would work best. Dave Candleberry, in one of his videos on YouTube, he said something about that, and I definitely agree there. But now, what do you use as a fire tender in a wilderness survival situation?
You know, in most of the wild world, you're going to have an abundance of tinder. The issue will be dryness. So if we're in some place that's perpetually wet, Pacific Northwest, New England at the wrong time of year, everything is just going to be soaked, and that's going to be a real challenge to try to find dry tinder in a wet environment. But if it's just an average temperate climate environment like most of North America, you are going to be able to use dead dry grasses, dead dry pine needles, dead dry leaves, the inner bark from fibrous trees. I love to use tulip poplar bark. This is a real common tree I have available around me on the East Coast. You can use basswood, you can use cedar, you can use juniper. There's so many different tree barks, and that's really my favorite. I will go out of my way to get dead fibrous tree bark for tinder because it works really well with an open flame and even with a spark rod.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome. And I use one of my favorites is birch trees. Their bark is super oily and making it great for fire starting. It's great fire tinder. Another one is also cattail fluff. That's also a great fire tinder you can find out there. What I like to do is make something called the bird's nest. I'm sure you're familiar with that. But what that pretty much is, you start off with smaller tinders, like more flammable ones, such as like I said, the cattail fluff. Then you go from bark to grass or whatever. Make sure it's all dry, and that way that's a very efficient way to start a fire. And so another thing that I don't typically, I've never really carried this in the survival situation, but cotton ball makes a great fire starter. Takes one strike of flint and steel, and bam, that goes up in flames. If you put petroleum jelly, Vaseline on there, that will last for a minute easily. If you don't have Vaseline on it, it may last up to 15 seconds, but they burn real fast. Dryer lint, that's also another good flammable product. Just get it from your dryer. One strike of flint and steel should light that up pretty good. Another thing that you can find in your home as well is fabric softener. That also burns pretty well, and takes typically 1 to 2 strikes on that, and that burns up real quick. But that's more of a plastic, and it's not quite as fun to handle. But anyway, I'm sorry to cut this off, Tim, but we have our first commercial break for the show, and we will be back after these messages.
Hi, I'm Brian May, founder of Cincy Fisher Baits in Cincinnati, Ohio, serving the needs of bass fishermen in the Midwest and across America. We sell the highest quality baits at reasonable prices for the recreational and tournament bass fishermen. We use premium components like Mustad hooks and Worth ball bearing swivels. We sell most kinds of bass baits, including various jigs like football head, swim jigs, underspins, swing heads, Ned rigs, tube jigs, and more. We sell lots of spinner baits also, including a special finesse spinner bait that excels on highly pressured waters like the Ohio River. You can reach us any time of the day online at cincyfisher.com. That's CINCYFISHER.com. We wish you the best of luck fishing, and we hope to hear from you soon.
And welcome back to the Outdoors and Art Radio Show, the real outdoor radio show. Again, I'm out here with Tim MacWelch, and we're talking about some wilderness survival skills. And to continue on our talk, I always ask every survivalist and person who's come on our show this question, but name 5 essential pieces of survival gear you carry in a wilderness survival situation.
That's a great question, Blake. Your first item to carry is a buddy. You do not want to go out alone. The buddy system is a proven method of life-saving, outdoor prowess. You don't go alone. So if you'll allow me that first item as somebody to take care of my wounds and go for help, then number 2 is going to be the big lighter. I really want to have an easy, fast way to make a fire, especially if I'm injured. Especially
you really like that big
impaired.
lighter, I'll tell you what. Man, that's awesome. Yeah, I agree with you there. A big lighter is by far the best fire starting tool you can have with you, but you can continue there.
Okay. Yeah, my third item is going to be something that I could boil water with. Some kind of metal cup, metal bowl, metal pot, metal anything. Because I can make a clay pot out in the woods, and it might survive the open firing process in a campfire, but it's probably not going to be likely to do that. And by the time it's dried enough to fire, I'm going to have died of dehydration. So give me my buddy, my lighter, a metal cup to boil water in. My third item is going to be a space blanket. That's going to give me an instant shelter and many other survival attributes. I can do a lot of stuff with that blanket. It's not just for wrapping up in. And then my fifth item, I'm going to want a knife. Just a nice, sharp, fixed blade knife. Something that I can rely on, something I can sharpen in the field. And that's gonna wrap up my top 5.
Yeah, those are actually really good items to have with you. I agreed with all of those. In fact, I've never heard somebody say buddy before, having a buddy with you. I mean, I've never really thought about that. I one time said in my early stages of survivalism, I said, having a trap with you is just like a hunting buddy. It literally does all the trapping for you. For carrying a trap is truly your best hunting buddy. And what I meant by that is that, for instance, let's say you're in the woods and you don't have any gun, you don't have a gun, you don't have a spear, you don't have any of that to be able to kill game. And so how are you going to get food? You're going to set up a trap. And to do that, you can set up the pilot deadfall trap, the figure 4 deadfall trap. You can set up all kinds of deadfall traps. You can set up pitfall traps. You can set up snares. You can set up anything. And what I love personally about trapping is that, better than hunting in a survival situation, is that you don't have to be there to make that trap work. instantly traps for you and hunts, as I say, hunts for you without you being there. And so you can go set up more than one trap while this one trap's in operation. You can sleep and your trap's still in operation. Unlike firearms and fishing poles, they work when you're sleeping, you're working, doing whatever. That's why I like traps so much. And to me, they're like, well, my hunting buddies, as I said in my early stages in survivalism. But that's when you said buddy, that's what went through my mind. But you got some really good essential pieces of survival gear. Going to quickly go over those one more time.
Sure. So you bring a friend. You don't go alone. Your second item is something to light a fire with, very easy to use, like a Bic lighter. You'll want a metal container that you can boil water in. You'll want a space blanket or some similar item for shelter. And finally, you want a knife as a tool.
Okay, awesome. And so, guys, listen to that right there. Those are, so far in the show, I would say those are the best 5 items that you can have with you. I have never said that about anybody else, but Tim, that is... those are some good pieces of gear. Now, things you can have with you. Now, what's your favorite brand of knives, Tim?
You know, it's whichever knife I have with me that is sharp and not going to break. A lot of people really get sidelined by brand loyalty or they're so worried about other people's reviews of knives. Get the best knife you can afford that will do the job you need it to do, and then just make sure you have it with you. The best knife is the one that you've got with you.
No, I would agree with that. Man, you have all the answers, my friend. You got some good stuff there. Having a knife with me, and some people are like, oh man, that knife would suck in a survival situation. I'm thinking, well, I would rather have that knife than no knife. I saw this one knife. I think it was for like woodworking, maybe. And I looked at it and I thought, well, this might be good for crafting a spear, making some sticks for a trap or whatever, building a shelter. But I'm thinking, this is not good for processing game. This is not good for any of that. I don't think this would be a good knife. And then I wrote that in the comments. It was on Facebook, I believe. And somebody replied back, well, it's better than no knife at all. And that's where I got that from. I never really thought about that. But anyway, one of these cheap knives I like, it's only like a $22 knife. It's called the HX Outdoors D121 survival knife, tactical knife, whatever it's called. It's like $22 at gearbest.com. It's a good fixed blade knife. It looks great. It looks awesome. If you look at it, I'm like, man, that looks like one cool knife. Nice and sharp. It can skin game real well. It can chop up wood real well. Make some good wood carvings for fire. The one thing that is not good for is batoning wood. What I mean by that is using a knife as a substitute with instead of an axe. And so that's the one thing it's not good for. But other than that, it's a great throwing knife too. It throws real well. And so that's a great knife to have with you. My favorite brand is Gerber. But like he said, just whatever knife you have on you right now, that's going to become your favorite knife because that's the one that's going to save your life. But anyway, Tim, why don't you tell us a little bit about your website and school?
Yeah, you bet. I run a business called Advanced Survival Training, and I've actually been teaching survival classes for over 20 years. I do this in Virginia, and folks can check out my website at www.advancedsurvivaltraining.com. That's advanced with a D, survivaltraining.com. And they can follow me on Twitter at Tim MacWelch, TimMacWelch.
So advancedsurvivaltraining.com. That's the name of your website?
Yes, sir.
All right, perfect. You guys check that out. That's actually how I contacted you to come on the show, Tim, through your website there. He got some great stuff there. He has a good website going there. He got some good survival skills, obviously. I mean, he's most... since we've done the radio show with all these survivalists, he's so far been my favorite, honestly. He got all the answers. I agree with you pretty much everything he said. And, man, you literally killed it. You got some good work out there. Check out his books, guys. My favorite is Prepare for Anything Survival Manual. He published that with Outdoor Life, and some of the other writers at Outdoor Life also helped him there. But that book is great. It has like 300 tips in there, survival tips. They're not only just wilderness tips, they're also urban, so check that out. It's good to know urban survival skills just as good as it is in wilderness survival skills. The only reason, like I said before, that we're going through wilderness survival skills is that we want you, before you go out hunting, fishing, hiking, camping, or whatever you're doing in the outdoors, we want you to know these skills in the event you get lost or you get injured. You just know how to survive and you know what to do now because you're safe now with your skills. It's okay to have the gear with you, but if you don't know the skills, you ain't gonna do much. And so you got to know how to do the stuff. The gear isn't gonna do it for you. You gotta know how to use the gear. So if you know how to use a gun right in a survival situation, you're going to be just okay. But anyway, Tim, I appreciate you coming on the show. We had a good time. I appreciate it. And you have a good one, all right?
Thank you, Blake. Pleasure to be here.
Yep, awesome. I'm glad you came on the show. Bye-bye. Well, it was awesome having Tim on the show. I really appreciated that. He did a great job. He's by far one of my favorite people who've come on the show. But anyway, you guys, if you're interested in sponsoring our show, please give us a call at 513-279-2096. Again, 513-279-2096. And if you want to email us too, you can email us at advertising@artofanoutdoorsman.com. If you're just interested in sponsoring a show, we're looking for new sponsors to sponsor our brand new radio show. And so if you're interested in that, please shoot us a call. Thank you for coming on the show, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in. Stay tuned in for within the next 2 weeks. We'll have a new show for you because we're a bi-weekly show. I appreciate Tim coming on the show. Appreciate your views. Appreciate your listening to our show. And you guys have a great week.
Are you tired of mediocre box store deer lures? Well, let me introduce you to Maston's Deer Scents. We offer unique and trustworthy deer scents for any hunter. Try our no-mess gel crystals for quick and easy setups, or use our 4-ounce spray bottles as you walk to your stand laying down a steady scent trail. If you really need your scent to reach out there, then heat up your hunting experience with our double scent stack. Check out all our quality products at mastonsdeerscents.com and like us on Facebook.
Hi, I'm Xavier Bruller, the author of When the Fault Breaks, a post-apocalypse book predicated by the rupture of Cascadia Fault. It is about the stories and lives of survivors of a megaquake in a world of chaos and mayhem. It is a mix of death and destruction, current social political viewpoints, and ideas on how to survive in a world after a life-changing catastrophic event. But most of all, it is a book of hope. When the Fault Breaks will make you laugh, it may make you cry, it will captivate you, and it may have you screaming, "Don't do it, it's a trap." You can buy it now on Amazon for $2.99, or if you're a Kindle Unlimited member, you can read the whole book for free. If you visit my Facebook book page, you can read The Great Quake for free now, or visit Amazon.com and go to When the Fault Breaks. To read additional reviews, please visit my Facebook group page, When the Fault Breaks.
Hey, this is Blake Alma, the host of the Outdoorsman's Art Radio Show. Do you have an interest in sharing your work or products with fellow outdoorsmen? If you do, you're in luck. Currently, we are looking for people to sponsor our new radio show. We offer up to a minute of ad space on our show. If this interests you, feel free to give us a call at 513-279-2096. Again, 513-279-2096. You can also email us at advertising@artofanoutdoorsman.com. Again, advertising@artofanoutdoorsman.com. Make sure it's outdoors man, not men. Also, don't forget to take a look at our website, www.artofanoutdoorsman.com, so that you may learn some simple DIY outdoor pursuits. The Art of an Outdoorsman. Together, let's revive the outdoors.